Hey, this is Russ. I was answering a question on my comments section of the last video, which was about not neglecting your extension. And it dawned on me this question, all right? If given the choice, you were going to get decent extension but poor flexion, or you were going to get good flexion but not so good of an extension, which one would you rather have? So let's say the scenario is you can't get both. You're not going to get perfect extension and perfect flexion. You have an option of better flexion and not so good of an extension, or decent extension but poor flexion. Which of those two would you rather have? Let's talk about this. And you should comment below on this one, okay? Let me know what you think is actually more important. So if you have good flexion, what does that mean? That means you can bend your knee pretty good, right? So that means you're able to do certain functions like get out of a chair easily, ride a bike, something like that, okay? You need decent flexion to do that. But your extension's not good, okay? So let's say your extension is between 10 to 20 degrees, all right? So your extension's not good, but your flexion is very good. Okay, now let's look at the other scenario. So now the other one says you have decent extension, let's say between 5 and 0 degrees. So your leg is almost straight, okay? But your flexion isn't that great. Let's say it hits 90 degrees. That's as far as it can go, okay? So what's the benefit of this? If you have decent extension, okay, then that would mean that you can walk pretty decent. Okay, when you're standing, you have even weight distribution between left and right legs. Okay, you probably wouldn't have as much hip problems either, because if you're favoring a good side of your good leg, and your bad leg is not doing so good, then that could cause hip problems, right? But if you're having decent extension, then that would mean that you're actually getting the ability to walk very well, and you don't have hip issues, right? So, but your flexion's not good. So at 90 degrees, what can you really do? You could technically at 90 degrees go up and down stairs, going downstairs. I think people could do upstairs even with less than 90 degrees, but you can go downstairs, okay? But that's about it. All right. So which of those two would you rather have? Good extension or good flexion? I mean, I have to weigh this because I'm not getting good extension right now, but my flexion is pretty decent at this point. I would not doubt I'm hitting at least 120 degrees with the Jazz unit. Okay. I measure out at least 115, and I know I can go more because I'm not even hurting when that thing's maxed out for me. So if somebody was pushing me a little bit like they do in physical therapy, I can hit 120 easy, I think, at this point. But I'm only getting between 8 and 10 degrees right now. So I can't walk very well. I still have a little bit of limping going on and things. So what is the benefit of better flexion? Better flexion. Okay, 90 degrees. I actually have a chart that I'm looking at behind the camera here, but it's not my chart, so I'm not going to put it up on the video. 90 degrees, you can go downstairs pretty safely. Okay, 105 degrees of flexion, you can get up from a chair. That's what they say. Okay, 115 degrees, you can ride a bike. At 115, you should be able to do full rotations on a bike. And they're saying that full flexion is typically about 135 degrees. That's probably correct. Okay. I mean, I was able to hit 130 degrees under anesthesia, but they're saying about 135. And I know that some people can actually go even more than that, because there are some patients that can actually go pretty deep in their flexion. But let's say 135. So you have that ability to do things. I don't know who said this to me recently. I know somebody said to me, says how they measure good flexion is whether you can get up off of a toilet. as weird as that sounds, that's kind of important because think about how low a toilet typically is. If you didn't have good flexion, how do you get up from the toilet? I mean, you'd have to use the good leg, obviously, then all the time. I mean, I still do now. I favor the good leg when I'm getting up out of a toilet or something like that. But I remember when first time not using a toilet seat, a riser, it's not a toilet seat riser, okay? And I had to go onto the actual toilet seat. It was kind of tough because my knee wasn't bending 100% perfectly yet. And even today, even though I could probably use it to push off of, I don't have the strength still in my leg to be able to do it. So I tend to favor the good leg pushing up out of a toilet seat. So think this through. So now you're probably waiting for me to give you an answer, right? Which is more important? I would have to say, for a guy who doesn't have good extension, I want that extension so I can walk. Now, if I was able to walk and I didn't have good flexion, I would probably be telling you, I want the better flexion. I mean, really, you want the thing that you don't have. Isn't that true? So there isn't a good answer for this, I don't think. But for you personally, okay, think about it. Even if you have good knees right now, let's say you've gone through this knee journey and you're doing pretty decent, okay, and you don't have an issue. But let's say you did. Which of the two would you prefer to have, and why? Put that in the comments. Let me know. All right. Right now, I'm thinking if I had at least 5 to 3 degrees of extension, I would be happier. Okay. And if that means that 120 degrees of flexion drops down to say 115, 110, I personally think I would still rather have the extension so that I can walk and do things. Here's an interesting thing. You know, I did a video recently taking you guys out on the bike trail with me. And I did notice one thing. I was able to actually take my bad leg, my left leg, which has the knee replacement, and bend it all the way back so I can actually put my foot on the floor of the scooter. I couldn't do that for the longest time. You know, I've been taking the scooter to go to Costco and things like that. I'd have to stick my leg out. And I think on the video, you see me stick my leg out still. You know, I put it on top of where the wheel well is, just to give it a little bit more leg room. But to put both legs on the floorboard means that you have to have decent flexion in order to pull that knee back to get that left leg back onto the floorboard. And I was able to do that. So I didn't know I was able to do that until I took it out on the bike trail, because I hadn't been on the scooter since doing some Costco runs, and that was before I got the Jazz unit back in helping me bend my knee. So that was, to me, something of a success. Okay. But I still can't walk very well. So to me, I want that extension. But if I had the extension, I might be saying I want the flexion. Think about it, okay? Put a comment below. Anyway, if you liked the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, hit the bell icon, hit any buttons that you see there. And I will talk to you guys next time.